for sure. No matter where you are, it is a great day and we are off to a great year. How many of you around the world are ready for your EPIC 2018? This has been just a phenomenal conference so far. After day one, you have heard from so many women who are just pouring their soul, their knowledge, their expertise into you. So I want to honor that yesterday was just a great day. And today, what I have for you, I want to help change your life. First of all, let me just tell you who I am. My name is Gina Bill. I am a business coach and life strategist. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, and I'm a real estate investor. But that's just a little bit about me. My business is located in the Washington, D.C. area, but I travel across the globe as an international speaker. As a matter of fact, I'll be coming up later this year just in South Africa. I'll be in Costa Rica next month. And I'm excited about what God is doing in our lives, God is doing in our business. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is what happens after the door closes. What happens when that door closes? I tell you that up front because I also want you to know that my goal is to also share with you lessons that I've learned throughout that journey and to share with you what it means to be successful. How do you get success in your life after you have had a major setback? So there are so many people that are going through that. As a matter of fact, that's why I'm here today, and that's why I do what I do. Because the very first time that I began to open up and to tell my story, women were helped. And it made me realize that there was something powerful in what God had planned for me after the setback. So I'm going to talk to you about the keys to success. I'm going to also talk about some of the pillars of success. And then I'm going to share my own personal story with you. So if you want to connect with me, you'll be able to do that. And it's very simple. All you have to do is go to my business page on Facebook, and that's at J Coach International. Very simple. The letter J, Coach International, all one word, on Facebook. What I've done, because you'll learn more about me later, but I have over 30 years of business experience. So there's no way that I can take everything that I've learned and reduce it to just a 20 to 30 minute presentation. So what I did in preparation for you is I've already listed what those keys of success are, as well as what some of the killers of success are. They're already posted on my Facebook page. And what I want you to do is, after you've heard what I had to say, if there's anything that touches you in any kind of way, maybe it helps you, maybe it broadens your perspective, maybe it broadens your mind, or maybe it's a situation where we have connected because your story is similar to my story and there's something that you liked. If you like what I've had to say at that point, just hit the like button, leave me a message. I've asked a question. And those are my success keys, but what are yours? So let's go ahead and get started. So what is success? A lot of people want success. You're entrepreneurs out there, you have your businesses, and you're ready to take on the world. You have this big, audacious ideas, and you're ready to take over the world. But what is success really? Well, what my definition is, and what you'll read in all of the books out there, that success is the culmination of doing small things consistently and allowing them to create greater success in your life. It's not just the one big thing that happens. And I know a lot of times we get into business and we want that one product that's going to skyrocket for us. Well, if you listen to any of the people out there and you believe anything they say, that doesn't happen. That usually comes after being on the journey for a very long time. So what is it that really helps you build your success? Well, there are 6 things that I think are very important. So let's just start with those. The first thing is the passion. That is that fire in your belly that says, this is why I get up every day, this is what I'm going to do. So it's about that passion. When you have passion for what you want, it's going to help drive you to the next level, to get the success and the results that you want in your life. So that's number one. Number two is proactivity. Let me say it again. That's proactivity. That is taking massive action like a pro. It's as simple as that. You have to take action because you know that fire that's in your belly. If you're not taking action to fuel that fire, guess what happens? Eventually, the flame of the fire burns out. So what good is it to have that passion that's burning inside you and then not act upon it? So be proactive. Remember, success is not going to come to you. It's what you make it. So you have to go and get it. The next thing is persistence. Stay in the course. Being persistent. Every time you make a call, whatever your business is, maybe you have a merchandise business, maybe you have an accounting business, whatever your business is, stay persistent. If you have to make calls, they don't answer the phone, what are you going to do? You're going to stop? No, you're going to make that call over and over again until they tell you to stop calling. That's what I mean about just staying persistent, staying on it. The fourth thing, you have to have patience. Patience, patience, patience. Because we want success, we want the profits, we want to be able to earn the kind of profits or the revenues that we know that we're entitled to, that we deserve. But you have to be patient. You're going to launch a product, you're going to launch new activities. Sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not. But you have to be patient. And remember what I said, it's the culmination of doing small things consistently over time that then lead to the big things. The next thing is a positive attitude. It's positivity. Now, why do you say that, Gina? Because do you know how your mind works? When you infiltrate it with negative things, your mind begins to close down. And so your opportunity to take advantage of all of those wonderful things that are out there begin to decrease. So you're then operating in a mindset of decrease, but you want to decrease. You want to operate in a mind of increase. So you want to be around positive people that believe in you. You want to be around positive information. You want to network and connect with those people that are going to support you. But more importantly, you want to maintain that positive attitude, because that then helps to elevate you to where you want to go. And then lastly, it's about perseverance. Perseverance. There are times when you may feel like giving up. There are times when you have tried, you put your best foot forward, and it doesn't work out. So the results that you wanted are different. The outcomes don't even compare to what you had expected. But you don't give up. You stay the course, stay steadfast. So those are my 6 keys for success. But what comes along with that? There are killers of success. And I hate using that word killer because it sounds so negative. But that's what happens. And these killers of success end up stalling every ounce of process or progress that you've made. Let me give you an example. The number one is procrastination. That gets in your mind, and all of a sudden you have these wonderful ideas, but for some reason you're not acting on them. You're not even sure why. All you know is you have these great ideas, you have that burning desire, you're trying to be positive, you're doing all the things that I just told you, but then there's the procrastination. You're not taking the active actions that you need. You're not following through, you're not going that extra mile. That's procrastination. So what good is that passion if you're not going to act on it and you're going to procrastinate? So that's just putting things off for another day, and that day sometimes never comes. The other thing is Self-pity. Self-pity. How many times have you been in situations where things didn't work out the way you wanted? Maybe it's your fault, maybe it's somebody else's fault, who knows? Maybe you feel like you've been wronged, but you find yourself sitting there in this blame game, trying to figure out who's to blame. When in actuality, I call it just giving yourself a pity day. A day to just sit there and cry and whine about why things happen to you. And yes, I'm going to admit there are times when you're going to cry. There are times where you're going to feel like things are just not working. So you're probably going to have a few of those days. But what happens is when they're persistent and they end up stopping you from moving forward, because it's the pity game, the blame game. You can never move forward as long as you're sitting there blaming everybody else. But what I want to do is to get you to that next level. I want you to be able to open your mind and move freely and understand that even when things don't work out, there's still some positive gains. So to be able to then look on the bright side. But what I do with my clients is we do not have a pity party. What we do is we start thinking about what's the action that now has to take place. And the last one, which I think is important, is, which I know is very important, and that is negativity. Being surrounded by negative news, by negative thoughts, those thoughts that get in your mind and say, I can't, or I won't, or I'm not, or it's not time. But it's those negative thoughts that infiltrate your system, your whole self-being. And all of a sudden, when you're involved in that negativity, then what happens is that it starts showing up in other parts of your life. So then you have the procrastination, then you have more self-pity because of the negative thoughts. Negative people. And I know that you've probably heard already what happens when you have negative people. You can't always get rid of them, or you can't disassociate them, but it's a way in which you have to manage the negativity that comes from certain people, precisely when it's a persistence of negativity, because that is going to get in your spirit. And when it does, procrastination, self-pity, and now all of a sudden, all those great big ideas are going to waste. But I want to talk to you. Where do they come from? When these negative thoughts, the procrastination, all those things start coming up, it's easy to say, oh, stop procrastinating. Just write a plan and do it. Just go for it. Do your to-do list, create your vision board, and then just go forth. Well, I'm here to tell you, it just ain't that easy. It's not that easy. It's easy once you learn, once you understand the genesis of where it's coming from. But if you never really understand what's causing those negativity, that procrastination, you can never get beyond it. So one of the things that I do is to help people begin to understand their circumstances, to begin to understand how they can be victorious in circumstance, because it's those circumstances in our lives when we've had a setback that create the setback in our mind, that create the negative thoughts, what allows us to be comfortable being around negative people and negative news, because it's all part of that comfort zone. Because negative situations, life events, can have a profound impact on the success that we desire in our life, because we're not able to achieve the results that we want in our lives. Do you know, one of the most critical things is when you encounter a setback, until you understand the impact of that setback on your life, until you're able to get beyond that setback and to start to understand the victory in that setback, your setback is going to last and linger longer than it should. And I know that for a reason. I know that because I have been there. You see, the first person that I ever helped, the reason I was able to help them is because they didn't know my story. But once they saw my story, they couldn't even imagine that I had been through those situations because I have gotten beyond them. So my success that I see today, what you see today, is not where I was just 3 years ago. I was in the depth of all of the situations that I was going through that compounded at the same time. And so for me now, 3 years later, to be here talking to you, for those people that know me, would say that is probably amazing. And I'm not bragging. I just want you to understand that it's possible to get beyond those circumstances, no matter how bad they are. It is possible for you to still achieve victories in your life, to achieve victory over those circumstances, and you can be victorious in your business. The reason I connect these two, you say, why are you talking about all these things? They have nothing to do with business. They tell me I need a business plan, I need a marketing plan, I need a brand, I need this website, all of those things, Gina. But here you are talking about somebody's passion. You're talking about being persistent. How does that help me in my business? Well, let me tell you, you can have the best product, you can have the best marketing, but if you're sitting over here on the couch because you're upset, you're procrastinating, you're still planning, because that's what happens. You plan and plan and plan and plan and nothing happens. It's what I call being stuck and not knowing that you're stuck. So that's why those things are important. Until you understand the killers of success in your life and in your business, and then how they impact you, you will not be able to get to the keys that will ultimately drive your success. So that's why I want to share my story with you. So I'm going to get pretty personal, and it was a point in my life. But before I do that, let me just ask you, is there anybody here, either out there, online, streaming online, or in the room, that has ever suffered a major setback? Maybe a divorce.
Yeah.
Maybe a divorce, right? Maybe a job loss. Maybe the job loss came unexpectedly. You're sitting there at the top of your career, and all of a sudden, you're now without that job. Sometimes they just call it, reorganized out. Or sometimes they call it, just, it's been eliminated. We no longer need those services. Guess what? The way you feel and what you know the truth to be, you just got retired prematurely. So they can call it whatever they want, but for us, and yes, I say us, because that was me, 27 years at the same company. I was at the top. I was leading a $29 billion program. I had over 300 people reporting to me directly. And then I had 10,000 nationwide. Every result that I had planned to achieve over a 5-year period, I did it in 3 years. 3 years. And the results were astronomical. Now, I didn't do it all by myself, but I had a team of folks working for me that was the absolute best team. And then all of a sudden, it's over. I was in a marriage for 24 years. 24. And one day I realized it wasn't a marriage for me. It wasn't a marriage. It was broken. and it was about to break me. So you think about it. Just imagine you have a major job loss. You're going through a divorce. You're getting ready to go through an empty nest syndrome because your daughter's growing up and getting ready to go to college. And then everything, all the glitter, the glam, everything that you have held dear to you as part of your comfort zone, that had kept you safe and comfortable, is now gone. So yeah, I was masquerading around like I was really happy. I had a lot going on and I was working harder. And the more life at home slipped away, or I became willing to acknowledge it, the more time and effort I put in my job. So the job meant so much to me for a lot of reasons. There were times that I didn't even have friends because they were at work. Everything that I associated with was at the job. And then all of a sudden, I'm on a stage, I get off the stage, I'm excited. The people are like, Gina, that's one of the best presentations. Oh, you're winning. I go, thank you, it was good. Then my cell phone rings, and I get this call. And it's like, oh, by the way. Okay, let me kind of pick my face up, and let me just see what this oh, by the way is. And then I learned that in less than 30 days, my world was changing. So you can only imagine. So when I talk to you about being stuck, it's not what I've read. It's about what I know, what I experienced. When I talk about the negative thoughts that enter into your mind, I know what I'm talking. This is what I experienced. So I call it when the curtain closes. So you're standing there, you're on the stage, the lights are bright, the crowds are yelling, they're clapping, standing ovation. And then all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, the curtains just begin to close. And you're like, no, what are you doing? You can't close that curtain. What are you talking about? I'm not ready. That's not me. No, that's not me. You can't close it, not now. Despite your best efforts, they still close. And they're closing. And then they close. It's dark. The lights are out. The fans are gone. The team is gone. Everything that you have held in your comfort zone is gone. And so all you can do, all I did, am I angry? Am I upset? I can tell you it was some pretty awful days for me. Days that I didn't even want to face. But I had to because I had responsibilities. Hello to all of my women out there that are taking care of their families. Despite what happens back here, you still got to perform. You still got to take care of your kids because they're dependent on you. So I could not let that show. I could not allow my daughter to know that I was worried. And I tell you, God is truly amazing. And your faith, because it's at this point, you're at your lowest point, and there's nobody around because you haven't been telling anybody. They don't even know that you're getting a divorce. They don't even know because they didn't know how bad it was at home because you're not going to tell anybody because we're walking around masked every day that life is oh so wonderful. And then you realize you can't sustain that. You can't live like that anymore. So then, in the depths of the night or early morning, because it was a lot of sleepless nights, I'm listening to the radio. And Smokey Norval, one of his songs comes on. So I'm reminded, hey, I just saw him recently. Let me pull out my phone, my iPod. Let me hear it. So he begins this sermon, and it talks about that there are times in your life when God moves you because you didn't move on your own. He had been telling you it was time to go. It was time to go, but you didn't go. So he reminded me, and I'm like, oh, shoot. And then he says, you know, you have not because you ask not. I was like, well, I'm going to get to asking. And then, this is what God did. He said, you know, some people are sitting around trying to be cute. They get cute when they get to God. Well, you can't be cute. Sometimes you just got to lean on him and say, I need you. So you better believe I started leaning longer, harder than I ever have. And I've always had a relationship with God since I was 17, actually 12. And every time it's gotten stronger and stronger. But this particular time, I was going through a situation that didn't make sense to me. So I had to go to God and say, what is going on? This doesn't seem right. And so as I lay there, and it's like, oh God, please. Yes, I had to yell out, and there will be days that you might have to do the same. But I yelled out. And I said, God, you gotta take care of this. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. Then all of a sudden, there was this voice. And it said, I got you. You're gonna be okay. And I said, but I don't feel like it. I don't feel like going on. There are times when I just don't feel like it. He said, but I got you. And when you can't walk, I'm going to carry you. Just like I carried you before. Just like I carried you all those times. Just like I carried you through that 24-year divorce. Just marriage. That's why I carried you during those 27 years. There are times when I had to literally carry you. So I'm laying there and I'm thinking, tears strolling down my eyes, and then it's like, really? Yeah, I remember that. And then tears of pain turn into tears of joy. And then I'm reminded of the faith that I have and the belief that I have. And I tell you, going through that period, yes, it was tough. But that is the time that you, the real you, is revealed. That is the time that you know what you're really made of. That is the time that you really know what God has in store for you. So this is my lesson in that scenario. This is my lesson when that door is closing and you don't know what to do. Not only are you going to lean on your faith. Lesson number one is I realized just how strong my faith was because I needed it badly. And if I didn't have that to believe in, I would have been pretty sad. Sad case. So my faith. But there is power in that darkness. There's power there. Power to get clarity. Power to understand what's going on. There's power knowing that that's your time to prepare. There's preparation. So not only is there power in your faith, power in your strength, but there is power in the purpose for what God has done for you. You see, we get so focused on what's happened and on that circumstance and focused on the commentary or what we think it says about us, but we fail to recognize that what it really says about God. So I need to be crystal clear with you right now. You see, during those years when he was carrying me, I was praying. I was praying for deliverance. I was praying that one day I would be able to get out of that marriage that was not working. I was praying that one day, after you go on a 6-year stint to achieve big goals for somebody else for their dream, and you do it in 3, guess what? Your assignment is up. My assignment was up. I didn't need to be angry. I had had 27 beautiful years of doing wonderful and phenomenal things that most black women, blacks, were not given the opportunity to do. I was the first woman to do it. I was the first African American, but I didn't focus on that because I was corporate and I was just doing my job. But as God began to let me see what I had done for them, I could do for me. And the success that I had in that market, I could have that same success in the market of my segment for what God has chosen me to do. So he had been calling me, but I wasn't listening. Because as women, when we're out there giving and giving and giving to so many people, we forget to give to ourselves. And then we forget that we have to take time to listen and to hear the man up above speak to us. So you're asking and asking for God to show up, and he shows up, but he doesn't show up like you want him to or like you expected. So it was only after going through what I went through, it was only after doing the work that needed to be done on myself. I hired coaches. I went to programs. I did everything I could. I had to regroup. It was only after I went through that I realized what was happening. And you know what I said? Thank you. You did me a favor. Thank you. This is wonderful. I now have time for myself. I now have time. The visionary that I was there, I can be over here. The strategist that I was over there, I could be over here. But now, guess what? I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for all of you. I'm doing it for all of those women across the globe that need that help, that need that assistance. So when God, when that door closes, when the lights are out and you're sitting there, I want you to know that's your time to prepare. That's your power. That's the time that you're building that muscle. Because guess what? You're getting ready to step on a bigger stage. This is just time for you to now relax, to get your thoughts together, to do the work that you need to do on yourself. Because you got a new act and a new scene on a different stage. And you got to be ready. So you got to get yourself together, get prepared, do what you need to do the work that's required, and then you got to be ready because it's your time. It is your moment to step into the greatness that God has for you. It is your time for you to now get the real results that you've wanted all this time in your life and to be successful. It is your time for you to accept all the gifts and the glory and the purpose that God has for your life. It's time for you now to recapture and reclaim your own dreams. I never had a dream for working for somebody for 27 years. When I was in college, I was going to have my own firm. And every black person at my university were going to come along. And we were going to have this big conglomerate organization. So I was going to go work for 5 years. But the pay got a little good. You got sucked up, right? And you start believing because you see everybody else rising to the top. So you say, well, hey, I can do that too. Hey, I'm just as smart, I'm just as this, I'm just as that. So you get sucked up. And then they say you're on a fast track. And now you're going to be moving up like every 2 or 3 years. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, 5 years turn to 10, 10 turn to 15, and you just keep counting. And now you're like, well, I may as well just retire. I got this nice little pension, I got the 401k, I got this. I'm good. Getting that paycheck every 2 weeks, I'm good. But then you get comfortable. And now your dream is nowhere to be found. Because I dreamed of my job every day. I woke up thinking about my job and what I was going to do to serve the people that I serve. I dreamed about how I was going to take it even higher, how I could make it better, how I could be that game changer. And then, all of a sudden, the can is kicked from under you, and you got to shift. So that's why these keys of success are so important to drive the results that you need in your life. That's why you have to address the killers of success in your life, because you won't be able to get to the real results that you want. That's why, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful women, that it is time for you to take the stage. It is time for you to claim your victory. It is time for you to reign in all of the glory that God has for you. That's what he's promised. And if you are here today, or you're out there across the globe watching right now, this is what I want you to know. I want you to know that when that door, when that curtain closes, despite your best efforts, when the curtains close, I want you to stand up wherever you are. Join me and stand up right now, because we're going to get ready. And I want you to say, just join me in saying, I am moving into my greatness.
Moving into my greatness.
I am a victor of my over my circumstances.
Over my circumstances.
I am not a victim of my circumstances. Those circumstances have prepared me for where I am today. And I am learning and growing. And I am ready to claim my position. So I'm going to put on my high heels.
I'm
going to put on my best men's shoes. Put on my high heels. Put on your fancy dress. Take your mask off, because you don't need the mask around anymore, because now you have real joy. So you don't have to pretend that you're joyous. You got real joy. So take the mask off. Do whatever you choose to your face, but it's beautiful the way it is. And then you're going to get ready, because the curtains are getting ready to open. Because God is opening doors for you. Yeah. All that proactivity that you're doing, you're now taking advantage of opportunities. You're creating greater possibilities in your life. And you're making use of them. Because you're ready. God has prepared you. You have the skills and the talents. You've already displayed that. You've already been doing that for the years that you've had. But now is the time for you to stand out and get ready, because the lights are coming on. The people are coming in the room, and they're coming to see you. So whatever your business is, I want you to know they're coming for you. And you got to be ready. So whatever those things are, you now know how to deal with them. There's no longer any need to procrastinate. You got a purpose. You got to run. There's no reason to be down and self-pity, because now you know that what you've been through was what you needed to go through in order to get to where you need to go. There's no need to be negative, because everything that's opening for you now is positive. And as long as you remember that, and remember to expect the outcome. And outcomes have one or two things to occur. It's going to be good, or it's going to need just a little more improvement. But either way, when they're good, you just figure out what you did right and do it again and again and again. If it did not work, you're going to step back, you're going to figure it out. You're going to figure out what the lesson was, because it obviously was a lesson. Because sometimes that's just an opportunity to learn more, right?
Yes.
And you're going to put that. So no more self-pity, no more negativity, and no more procrastination. Because you are prepared and you're ready to step into your glory. So my name is Gina Bill, and it has been awesome being able to share with you that story, being able to share with you the systems, the keys of success that I've used in my life to take me from there to where I am today. So I am delighted. You can contact me again. Just connect with me on Facebook at JCoach International. Send me a message or send me a comment. If I said anything that has helped you, that has motivated you, or even inspired you, or if it's you think it'll motivate and inspire somebody else, hit the like button. Only if you want to, only if it's really impacted you, or you think it's going to impact somebody else. Hit the share button or just like it. That's my story, and that's what happens. That's your opportunity. When the door closes, just get ready because it's opening. May God bless you. May you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and stay tuned in because there are more great presentations coming for you. Thank you so very much.
Hey, give it up to Gina online there. Hey, give it up, Miss G, give it up for her. You know, a couple questions a couple things I got out of, because a lot of times you hear things, but you don't act on it, you don't implement it.
Absolutely.
So it's like a key that you never stick in the keyhole, and then you don't turn.
Yes.
So Gina gave you some keys. Gina, if you would, how can they turn those keys? See, because you gave them the keys and you told them what was behind the door, but now how can they turn those keys? Can you share a couple things to help them turn the keys?
Yes. So to turn those keys on, there are a couple of things that you could do. One of the things that has helped really for me, and that is when you're talking about turning on the key of proactivity, is taking proactive. We get stuck on the how. And I'm going to tell you, it's not the how, it's the why. And as long as you know the why, jump. My most incredible success has come when I jumped and I didn't know what I was doing.
You mean no net, no parachute?
No parachute. It was like I jumped. I'll tell you what my
But
parachute
you got
was.
the wings though.
Yeah, I had those wings on. Yeah, I had a parachute. But I had to jump. And guess what? I've never fallen. I've never fallen. I've jumped, but I've jumped and jumped and jumped. And each time I either learned or I got a reward. And so that's what I say to you. Turn that key on to productivity and just jump. Don't think about it too long. Take advantage of it.
Hey, you guys heard that? I mean, just make sure you jump and get right into it. So give it up again for Gina. Hey, online, how you give it up? You hit like. You say, love, I love it, I love it, I love it. You share it. That's how you show your appreciation for it. Gina, thanks a lot again.
Thank you so much, Howard. I appreciate it.
I'm a hugger.
Me too.
I'm from down south, y'all. So, hey, I'm a
We
hugger.
both are.
All right, so hey, I get a chance to share a little bit here, and once again, thanks a lot for Gina Bill. That's not Regina, that's Gina Bill. She's the speaker and the coach that helps you transform, not the entertainer from a singer standpoint. So hey, we had some fun with that. Hey, one of the things that we're going to talk about is taking you, helping you. We talked about success, but we're talking some specific success here as we share today. We do a session called 15K in 45 minutes. And so I'm not going to take 45 minutes. We're going to spend about 25 minutes because on the main stage, we're going to have a couple women on stage hot seating to help them find that real revenue in their business. So I want you to do a couple things, and I have a worksheet that you can work through. So you can text the word worksheet, real simple worksheet, to 225-412-7300. Or you can simply go to find, F-I-N-D, 15K.com. We'll make it simple. I'm a simple guy, so hey, as we work through it. But, as you think about that, and I'm going to refer back to the worksheet and give you a chance to pull it up, because once you go to that and you're going to find an interactive, dynamic worksheet online that will help you walk through your numbers and show you what realizing a 10% increase in your business can mean for your life, for your bottom line. So you want to work through that, but we're going to talk about that a little bit. So first, I'm going to start, and today, normally I would have a business owner and we would use that live situation, but the first thing I want to talk about is the mindset. You know, we're going to get into there are 5 key things every business owner should focus on, and we're going to talk about the technical part. You know, those are trackable. I'm talking about the technical. You know, the mindset is not trackable because you can't see it. You know, it's this thing that happens. You know, a person can have a mindset or a mind shift, and you never realize it. You know, you ever been sitting there with someone and they've gone from 0 to no, and you didn't even realize it? Or they've gone from 0 to yes, and you didn't realize it because they had a mind shift in the moment. And so as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it's very critical, you know, as a womanpreneur, you know, because I work with a lot of women. Most of my clients are women, you know, as I think about that, the thing I love is their passion for what they do. So one of the first things that we try to work with, and Gina said well to it, a previous speaker, if you're just jumping on, she talked about your why. So I want you to write that down, is that as a business owner, as a businesswoman, as a businessman, I have to understand my why. And when you write that down, and I'm an acronym person, I told you I'm from the South, so literally I have, you know, almost everything I create an acronym for. My name, Howard, is an acronym. Helping others win and realize dreams. Helping others win and realize dollars. That's what Howard is. That's what Howard does. So when I say that, why stands for what helps you. That's right, what helps you. Because as you're growing through that valley, you're going to grow through some valleys. You know, you're going to get to a cliff, and as Gina said, you got to jump. And so you're going to have to build those wings on the way down. But when you think of your why, it makes that next step easy. Not the first step, but the next step. Because you're going to continuously have those moments when you got to make that next step as a business owner. And that's when you're having that mind shift, you know, because your mind has a mindset right now, but I want you to have a mind shift. And as you're changing that mind, you know, one of my favorite quotes of all times is that you cannot reach a destination overnight, but you can change your direction today. Mm. See, here's what happens. Too often times, once we understand that why, and this is I kind of look at it as, and have an org chart that we kind of put together when we teach around it, really, is your purpose leads to your vision. And between your vision, your purpose and your vision is your passion. But you got to put a compass on it. So you got to have compassion. You got to have direction. And so as you create that vision, then, only then can you set goals. Because your goals must be in alignment with your vision. You know, I want to ask you, have you ever ridden in a car that was out of alignment? Yes. What was it? It was a rough ride. You know, take your hand out, trying to be cool, and pulling, and you trying to oversteer. That is how your life is if your goals are out of alignment with your vision. You know, if you're sitting in a place right now where you're saying, why am I in that job? You know, that's part of my story. You know, I have an engineering degree. I can remember the last job I had. I was salesman of the year for a Fortune 500 company. I was miserable. Like, something's wrong with this picture. But I wasn't living my purpose. So any vision I created in that job was out of alignment with my purpose. Yeah, I might have had a nice car, but they do get out of alignment too. Who just get out of alignment? I don't care what car you hit, if it's not in alignment. And that's the way we are. So as an entrepreneur, let's get back into that 15K. As an entrepreneur, you have to change that mindset, that mind shift. And so no matter where you are in your business, take a product or service, take a business and ask yourself, what must I do to get more in my business? So what you have, if you've gone to find15k.com and downloaded the worksheet, you will actually have this worksheet that we're working on, and it will take you to the growth calculator. So one of the things that you talk about in any business I mean, they can be broken down in 5 things. The number of leads you get. Leads are strictly conversations with your target market. So the number of leads, number 1. Number 2 is how well do you convert those leads to currency? You know, that could be cash, it can be credit cards. People still write checks. It could be checks, it could be direct deposits. It doesn't matter. As long as it's currency that you can convert and put into your account. So, you know, that's it. And then you go into price points. See, every service you provide has a value. And you got to ask yourself, well, what can I do to increase the value to the marketplace of that service? Oftentimes we're trying to double our sales when we have all the numbers we need right inside of us. You know, one of the things I did, I have a promotional marketing company, and so as I was teaching this last year, I was like, Howard, pow, pow, slap myself. I mean, well, the words did. Why aren't you doing the same thing in your own company? You got away from it. So literally, we created a welcome back campaign. You know, to the words of welcome back, Carter. Welcome back. But no, welcome back campaign for our clients. And so it's going out next week, and it's centered around Valentine's. Hey, we still love you, even though we have not done business with you in the last 3 or 4 years. So we went back all the way 6 years. And as our gift, we give you free setup and free shipping on your next order. Your choice. And so, but it's just a way in which to reconnect with them. So as we talk about that is, you know, how do you bring more value? Then the other thing that every business is, you ask yourself the frequency in which clients do business with. You know, as a coach or a trainer, do you have a monthly program? As a brick and mortar store, do you have a way in which people come back in regularly? You know, one of the things we did in our t-shirt shop, we have a t-shirt shop, we actually created a prepaid t-shirt card. And so the shirts were selling for $12 each. So you could buy 10 shirts for, I think it was 90 bucks. And you got a free gift. And then when you come in, we just punch a hole in your card. So whether you wanted 1 shirt this week or you wanted 10 shirts, you can use it up all at one time. And you know, and out of the several hundred cards we sold, guess what? Half of them didn't get used. Because they had a year expiration date on it. Just like the card. But what that did was, it forced people to come back in. It created a sense of frequency. Give you a case study we did with the florist. I mean, how many ladies love flowers?
Oh, most of them.
Okay, the ones that don't know what happened, must got stuck by a rose versus that. That's another story. But when you think about that from a standpoint of a florist, what if a florist targeted me, and this is an actual case study, and said, hey, we're going to make you be a hero all year. And so 5 times a year, we're going to pre-order your flowers for you. You just sit down and plan, when's your wife's birthday? When's, okay, Valentine's, it's always on the 14th, but you forget, so we're going to make sure that happens. You know, Mother's Day. And then what other day you want to surprise her?
Anniversary.
Anniversary. And then a wild card date.
One
you
just
pick.
because.
You just call us up and tell us when. Well, go ahead and give us $279. And the bouquets, the flowers that you normally get would be normally 75 bucks. You just increase the frequency in which a person does business. Because I can't tell you, I mean, I've been to a florist once in the last year. Now I have bought flowers, but been to a florist once in the last year. But think about if you have that type of program in place, what that does for your business. So as you think about your business and what you do, you ask yourself, what can I do to increase the frequency in which I transact with my clients? And then the next thing you do is you would literally work in to drive, when I say drive, your back end. I'm not talking about working out, getting in shape, and you're saying, how do I increase my profits? You know, so you look at little things. You know, one of the most powerful things in the retail business, if there's a retail owner out there, I want you to write this down. You don't make your money when you sell, you make your money when you buy. Because if you pay too much for a product, that means you gotta sell it at a higher price. if you buy it at the right price, you can always sell it at the right price. I mean, that was something that was shared with me, and you know, it was a powerful statement. Didn't understand it at first, but I realized it. And you know, even in the retail business, I shop closeouts. I'll call my suppliers and say, hey, man, what you got left? That, you know, great example in our retail store. There's some cute lady shirts. Yeah, they were cute, and they normally wholesale for $4 or $5 to $7. But the company was trying to get rid of them at $2 each. So I said, okay, hey, if I take all, could you give them to me at $1.50? Yes. So now we go in and put them at the same $24.95 that we normally would sell at, but you can get 2 for this and 3 for that. So most ladies coming in were buying 3 of the shirts at about $17 average. It gave me a lot of room.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't bought right, then I couldn't sell right. And so you want to look at your business and ask yourself, how can I work on my back end? You know, how can I reduce those profits to make things happen the way I am? So when you pull that down, as I was showing you on the growth calculator here, if you're online, and so with that, you're able to plug your numbers in. So you look at your current situation. Same way with this here. When you look at the leads that you generate times your conversion rate, that gives you your new customers. How many current customers do you have? And then that gives you your total customers. And then your revenue per customer. That's where you want to look at. So you want to look at all those in the black. All those areas in the black are what you want to look at when you're online, because those are areas that you can impact. And so if I had time to complete this chart with you, or you can go online and look at it, a 10% increase equals about a 70-some% increase. 10% in all 5 of these areas equal about a 70% increase in your profits. Now, 10% is a lot easier to get than saying I'm going to double my sales. Because you can double your sales and not increase your profits. We've got to be careful of that. You know, I want you to write this down. Cash flow is king, but cash keep is the queen. The queen always rules the board, okay? I mean, remember that now. I'm talking to you. Cash flow is king, but cash keep is the queen. So when that happens, guess what? There's more revenue in your business to do the things to fuel your why, for you to live your purpose. See, I don't know what your purpose is, but that's what it is. You know, one of my mentors said it best to me. He said, Howard, why did you go into business? Was it to be a slave to your business, or for your business to give you the life that you desire? Did you go into business to work 40 hours a weekend? Yeah, I mean a weekend. Because you were, you know, and I'm speaking to the heart of some folks right now, and because we had a chance to visit one-to-one. And that's how it is sometimes, especially if you're in the retail business, you're in a customer oriented. Because, you know, as I tell my wife all the time, she was like, why are we open? I said, because in retail, you work when other people play. Your day's off from Monday, Tuesday, when other folks are at work. That's just the way it is, if you're going to have a successful retail. But as you think about that is, why did you go into business? Sometimes you have to revisit your why to find a new how. Revisit your why to find a new how. And see, that's part of my journey, and I'd be glad to share that with you. But more importantly is, from your why, who are you looking to serve? And see, every why is born out of service. You know, as Muhammad Ali used to say, one of his favorite quotes is, service is the rent that we pay for our existence on earth. It's one of my favorite quotes. You know, that's why we were put here. We were put here to serve others. And so what you do is born to serve others. So with that said, hey, we're going to enjoy this, and we're going to take it in deeper, because we're going to have some live business owners on the hot seat around 3:30 this afternoon. So you'll be able to jump over to the main stage if you're looking online, and the ladies in the room, of course, you'll be in there. And we're going to have some fun with that. And we're going to help them find $15K in 45 minutes, I think. So I'm actually bringing 2 people up. So We try to do it in 25. We have some fun with it. But more importantly is look at these 5 areas. Remember, lead generation, conversion, your price points, the frequency in which you do business with clients, and then as you think about it, your back end. Am I profitable? Because cash flow is king, cash keep is the queen, and the lady rules the board. So all you women entrepreneurs, or if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, remember, just think about that. You do have it within inside of you. All of us were given a purpose, and it's up to you to discover that. And once you discover that is, let it, your passion drive it, but more importantly, put a compass on it. Have compassion towards your vision, and when you do that, you will know why you exist, and then the world will have to say, watch out, here she comes, because she's about to help us. But more importantly, they're going to pay you to make that happen. With that said, hey, we got to get ready to head back over to the main room. That's right, we physically got to leave out. All you got to do is click, just click the button. You ain't got to get up, but we got to get up and get out of here, as they say. So with that said, look forward to spending time with you. Just go to 15kmeeting.com to have a conversation with me personally. That's 15kmeeting.com. You know, we build everything around 15K. When I meet with my clients, I say, hey, every meeting I should help you find at least $15,000 new dollars in your business. First, you got to realize it. Then I want to help you live-lize it. So hopefully you'll go over and we can have a conversation. Look forward to meeting you personally. Take care. God bless. And as always, be the best you possible, because guess what? Everybody else is taken. Bye-bye. See you next time.
The room as well. I am Kim Warren Martin, and I'm excited to welcome you to the Big Ideas Room, where we are going to talk about moving from business regrets to business rebirth. So, got some great information to share here with you. I am the founder and CEO of Dynasty Lifestyle Solutions, where we focus on creating health, wealth, and legacy through internal transformation, inner transformation. So today we're going to be talking about some tools, a tool that you can use to transform regrets, disappointments, misaligned expectations into something that you can learn from, and literally something that you can establish, put some new things into practice and be able to help others to learn and move forward, so you really can position yourself to take some big, bold steps and create the business not only that you desire, but you deserve. And that also flows into life. So to be able to create the life that you desire and also deserve. So I'm gonna get started here. You know, one of the things I've realized is a person who is an entrepreneur is actually someone who is what I call a rebel. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean someone who is willing to step outside the box, someone who is willing to take a chance on their dreams, someone who is willing to fall forward and maybe not even always win, but learn, like John Maxwell said. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So I consider entrepreneurs rebels. And there's a quote I love by Steve Jobs. It says, "Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in square holes, the ones who see things differently." See, when you're an entrepreneur, you see things differently. And they are not fond of rules. I don't know about you, but I was always a child and as an adult, someone who colors outside the lines, and sometimes the one who asks for forgiveness versus asking for permission. But they're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. He says that you can quote them, you can disagree with them, you can glorify them, you can even vilify them. But about the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Why? Because they change things. They push the human race forward, and while some may see them as the crazy ones, you know, what he said is, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. And I am a self-proclaimed rebel, and I believe that I can change the world. And how do I think that I can change the world? There's several different ways, but one of the major things is literally through inner transformation and helping people to be able to go from regret to rebirth. So I actually, just personally, a little story about me, worked in corporate America over 20 years, had a great career, successful, had worked with some brilliant people. I was in the technology industry, literally learned some amazing things. In my last 6, maybe 8 years in corporate, I was asked to manage the women's initiative for at that time it was the world's 7th most valuable brand. And so my responsibility was to help women get to the top. On the engineering side, to become fellows and principal engineers, if you understand, if you're in technology, you know what that means. And on the business side, to help women become, more VPs and corporate officers. And so it was a wonderful experience. And one day, what I realized is I was spending a lot of time helping everyone else get to where they wanted to be. And no one was focused on helping me get to where I wanted to be. You see, I've always been a rebel. I never really even wanted to have a job. In fact, I didn't even really want to be an engineer. It was sort of a parental decision, but I went with it. And what it brought along was really an amazing career and some phenomenal experiences. So I don't have regret because I don't think there was anything lost or missing. There's so much I brought forward with me. But that point where I was getting ready to go to college and choose a major, literally I wanted to major in drama and dance. I had my school picked out. I was going to be singing and dancing on Broadway. I was going to be the first African American woman to get an Oscar. So when Halle Berry got that, and I'm super excited for her, I called my dad up and I said, hey, did you see Halle, get the Oscar? And then he said, yeah, he was excited. And I said, that was mine, right? But, it wasn't mine. It was meant for her. But the reality of it is that was a major source initially of disappointment, not being able to, go the path I wanted to go in life. And so here I find myself 20 plus years in a career, and I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, this really isn't the life I want to live. So even at that point, when I decided I was going to walk away from my job, I had a conversation with my husband, we decided it was time, it was the right thing to do, I literally had to go through some inner transformation and have a mindset shift to go from employee to entrepreneur. So when you spend 20-something years, I think it was 27 to be exact, as an employee, you have a mindset, you have a way of operating. There are things that you do because you are an employee, and then you move into entrepreneurship. There was so much I didn't know, but I knew that I had a desire to be successful, and I knew that I had a desire to make a bigger impact in the world, and so I set off to do that. And one of the things that happened to me is I am a believer in not inventing the wheel. So I got the service of coaches, and I got the service of trainers and other people for various different parts of my business. And one of the things I experienced was a lot of misaligned expectations. When I bought some of the programs and the packages, I bought them for specific reasons because I was looking to get to a certain place in my business. And in a lot of cases, it didn't turn out that way for me. Now, I don't know if you know what that's like from a business standpoint or working with coaches, but I guarantee you've experienced some disappointment and had some misaligned expectations. And so if that's you out there watching live, go ahead and type in the, in the chat that, that was me. I have experienced that. I know what it's like to be disappointed. So what happened is it continued. Like the more I invested, the more I began to stack up and rack up disappointment. I went from this coach to that product to that program. And some of you may have heard this story on the main stage, but I love telling it in an intimate session because we can really, I can share some more details, and then I can see from you as well your experiences. Pardon me. So it just continued, and I got to the place where literally, I had just tons of disappointments going on. And it wasn't what I expected when I left my job. But literally, I got to a place where I was thinking, if I knew I was going to have to deal with all of this, I might as well have stayed at the job because, while it wasn't really fulfilling fully for me and I did want to accomplish something bigger, there's something to be said, about getting that paycheck and being able to take trips and do the various things that I was doing and having the perks and flying on company planes and those sorts of things. So there's something to be said for that. And then I came to myself and I realized, you know what? You don't want to go back. So try again. Now you might be out there experiencing some of these things in your business where you've tried over and over and over again. And I know I'm not alone. Every audience I am in, there are business women, there are business men, there are just business people who've had a very similar experience. And what has happened is they've stacked up a lot of disappointments. It literally has begun to control them, the decision-making process. I've talked to people who literally have decided, I'm not going to deal with any more coaches, I'll just figure it out on my own. I've tried once or twice and it didn't work, I lost money, those sorts of things. But that in itself is control, and it is being controlled by a negative experience. What negative experience? The negative experience of having misaligned expectations, which in essence are disappointments, and having regrets from the time, the money that you invested. Now, when you get to talking about regrets, regret is both a noun and a verb. So the verb form of it is really when you look back and there are these awful feelings or something that comes up inside of you, and you may even blame yourself for making bad decisions. You may be even in a space where you distrust yourself to make the right decision. So rather than making a decision again to try again and write another check or swipe your credit card, you just hold off. And holding off really causes you to shrink and literally can steal your dream of having that business that you desire and steal the dream that you had to have a larger impact on the world or to serve whoever your dream clients are. It can take that away from you. And so what I really wanted to talk about is moving from regrets to disappointment. And one of the things I found with myself is people would ask me, like I started to mask my disappointments. And what do I mean by that? People would ask me, how's business going? And I'm saying, it's going fine, it's going great. Or, how are things going, with your business? And I would be, I shifted something a little bit, so it's not exactly where I want it to be, but we're getting there. It's all looking good. Those things that you say instead of, coming out and saying, you know what? I made some choices, I made some decisions. I got into some programs, I worked with some people. Things are not exactly where I want them to be, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep pushing because I know that this desire in my heart, God didn't put it there for no reason, and He's certainly not playing a joke on me. So I'm literally gonna keep pushing and making it happen. So, I wore the mask for quite a while, and one of the things it did for me was just, it just held me back. So I had to get to a place where I could take the mask off, so I could move past disappointment. I could move past those regrets. I could move past all the misaligned expectations. I could move past the sadness, I could quit questioning my own self, my own judgment, my own decision-making process. I could, quit, I know the bonus schedule for my, for my previous job, and, in January and July, not get this sinking feeling because I was missing the bonus because I decided I wanted to become an entrepreneur, and things hadn't exactly worked out the way I wanted them to in a specific time frame. So, I had to move past all those things, and I really had to make a decision to fully commit and stop looking back so I could go forward in my business. And I had to get rid of all that regret and all those disappointments so I really could begin to take the big, bold steps I wanted to. One of those big, bold steps is actually sharing some of the things that I went through in my business. Because before, remember, I was masking things, wanting people not to know that it wasn't going exactly like I had planned it. But the reality is, once I started to open up and share that, that made room for other people to open up and share as well, and even share ideas. And that is what, got me to the space where I realized, I'm not alone. And so having a way of getting past that disappointment, I felt it was not just, a right or a need to share, but it was a responsibility to bring it to entrepreneurs. And so I'm gonna just go over a 4-step methodology that helped me get past my disappointments. We are short on time here today, so just take some notes, grab a pen and paper. I'm gonna talk about these 4 quadrants, but I really wanna hone in on the very first one. So the 4 steps in this process, it's called Mastering the Disappointment Within. And I love this, and it literally is out of my own journey. It literally is what I had to do to move myself forward. And so it's not something I read or something I heard about, but it is a life experience for me, and it is near and dear to my heart because, again, I know I'm not alone. I know there's other people out there struggling, and so you don't have to struggle. And I'm excited that I have a methodology, a system, a tool that can literally be developed into a skill to help you not have to struggle. I mean, if you're out there, who in this room likes struggling, right? So if you're out there and you're in the chat, type in the chat, #NoMoreStruggle, right? You don't want to have to struggle. When you decided to become an entrepreneur, you had goals and dreams. Yes, it's business, so you want to make money, but especially women, we want to help other people in so many different ways. And so you can't really do that from a place of struggle. So write #NoMoreStruggle because you want to be in a place where you're free from struggle, so you really can put all your energy and your creativity into producing and helping the people you're called to help. So this first step is actually, it's regret. So here's what I want you to do. You have a piece of paper. Just create 4 quadrants. Draw a line down the middle vertically and 1 horizontally. And the first one, and label, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 from top to bottom. Label the first one regrets. And this right here, this first step is so key to the process because it's where you have an opportunity to just dump out all those disappointments, to write out all the things that you had to go through. You want to write anyone, anything, any situation. It gives you a chance to just put it all out. And a lot of times in private sessions when people do this and they take a look at the list, and they can't believe, it literally becomes a picture of your journey, of your business journey. So this one is so important that you take the mask off and that you are real with yourself. Those things that have caused you regret, have caused you disappointment. Because there's some things that are little things, we sweep under the rug and we think that, we've gotten over it. But the reality of it is, if that situation occurs in your business again, you can tell if you've gotten over it by whether you react or you respond. A response is, I've mastered this and I learned from it. So here this is again. And for me, I ask myself, why am I back in this situation? What else do I need to get out of it? But a reaction is emotional. It may be an outburst. It may be expletives, profanity, whatever your word of choice might be. It could be any way where you're not handling it, maturely, I guess, is a word, but physically, mentally, socially, emotionally. It can be, a reaction can be a sick feeling in the pit of your stomach, whereas a reaction would be, okay, I've been here before and I made it through, so let me look at what I did before so I can get through this again. So this first quadrant is ultra important, and we don't have a lot of time, but when you're going through it, you write down those disappointments, write down anything, any little thing, any big thing. My sister said, oh, you're doing something else again, or, my coworker said, girl, why don't you just cut that out and just, go ahead and go for that promotion, or anything that literally did not sit well with you, that did not align with your expectations, the excitement you had for your business. It's so important to get it all out. And why? Because we want to clear all of that junk out so we can move forward. So we're not in a space where we're reacting, but we're responding. Because, heaven forbid, you are in a client meeting and this client says something to you very similar to something that someone else said, whether it was a coach or a family member, or a previous business partner, current business partner, and you react, right? You get that sick feeling in the pit of your stomach, your expression changes on your face, you react, and they see that. Because if you haven't mastered it, it's there, and whenever it's rubbed or, whenever that spot is touched, it's gonna cause that reaction. So that's why this first step is so ultra important. And I really wanted to spend a lot of time here. Typically, in a very condensed session, I'm finding that I really want to get to the rebirth. And I really want to show people, let's look at some lessons you learned and things you can put into practice and things you can put into teach. But what I'm finding is, if you really don't put down all the disappointments, there are infinite, or at least there's infinite number of other disappointments there and lessons you could have learned, things you could have been put into practice, and things you can carry forward with you. So what we're looking for out of all of those regrets, out of all of those disappointments, are things that we can take forward with us. And how is it going to help us to be a better businesswoman, a better CEO, a better woman in general, from everything that we had to go through. So we always want to, like John Maxwell said, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And personally, that always reminds me that if sometimes I win, that's great. I like winning. In fact, I really don't like losing. And then the other times I learn, that means I always win. So I'm never in a position where I'm losing. I'm either winning or I'm learning. And I'm always learning anyway when I'm winning. Because when I win, I want to do it again. And if I learn, I want to look at what can I do differently, or how can I move forward. So it's really, 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 really important to put all of those regrets, all of those disappointments, anyone, anything, any situation, any program, any product, anything. So when I first did this, I literally named names of people, and I described situations and things that had happened that had caused me to shrink and be controlled by disappointment, the invisible force of disappointment. So what this is all about is really helping you to break free so you can move forward as the phenomenal businesswoman you were really created to be, and really make your 2018 epic. So that is quadrant number one. Quadrant two, once you have written all those disappointments down, this activity, you can write lessons we learned. So this is really to pull out lessons that you learned from those regrets, from those disappointments. I won't spend as much time on quadrant two today, but because one is so important that you really dig deep and you really clear those things out. And I will say to you, it's not going to happen in 5 minutes. It probably won't even happen in a day or in a week. For myself, it was a month and a half, and I was still going back, remembering things. And when I would react, I had to ask myself, what is it that I haven't processed through? There must be something inside I still need to process through. Who is it I need to forgive? What do I need to learn? So there's always something, whenever I know when I react, I need to go back to quadrant one and clear that out. And so I'm trying to paint a picture for you as well, that this isn't something that you do quickly or in 5 minutes, even though I can share it with you in a very short time period. So really, really, really take the time to do quadrant one, and don't rush to get into quadrant 2 or 3 or 4, because this is building. One is the foundation, and we're building on that foundation. And if you haven't pulled everything out, I mean, just like a building, right? You need a skyscraper, you need to go deep, and, for however tall it's gonna be, it needs to be deep. And I'm not really an architect. I don't know all those things. I've just seen lots of analogies. So literally, this is foundational. And so you wanna be able to clear all of that out, because you're gonna wind up building on top of it. And, you don't wanna continually have to, move other things out of the way so you can go back and keep clearing and then start to re-erect your business or your building again. So lesson 2 is lessons that we learned. And I'm going through this one fairly quickly, because what I wanna do is, at the end of this, I'm actually gonna give you a free gift where you can text in and get a copy of the Mastering the Disappointment Within graphic. And you can also schedule a session with me to help walk you through it. So that's why. So don't be concerned, or don't worry if we don't get deep into step 2 or step 3 or step 4. Literally, this is going to be, we're going through this 4-step quadrant. So step 3 is from the lessons that you learned in quadrant 2. You want to be able to put those things into practice. And so you may list, like for me, I listed, 8, 10, 12 lessons, but initially I didn't put all those lessons into practice. And, honestly, sometimes it's good to prioritize and just pick 2 or 3 and try and implement them first. Don't try to make a whole list of like 12 or 13 different changes all at once, because you really need to see some progress. You need to see some success. You need to see some results. You need to start to believe in yourself again. You need to start to trust yourself again. So pick, the important top 2 or 3, prioritize them, pick those top 2 or 3, and then begin to practice them consistently. When you have done that, let's say 3 months, 6 months, not just a week, then they start to become a part of who you are. They become a part of who you are. And you can actually begin to teach those things to others. And so when you start to teach them to others, they become a part of your personal success formula. So I'll give you an example for me. One of the things I started to do as I was investing in programs, because I still believed in me, I still believed in my business, and I was going to give it one more try. So before I began to invest in additional programs, I had to see if I could set up a payment system where I'm not dropping $5, $10, $15, $20,000 all at once, but to be able to pay, a deposit and then deliver at, on demand. So as goals were being met, then, make another payment. As milestones and projects, components of it were being delivered, then make another payment. So for me, that worked, because as I processed through my regrets and my disappointments, I needed a way to still trust myself and still be able to move forward. So that is something I practice. That is something I teach. Now, not every vendor or coach or company or program is going to allow you to do that. So in a case like that, what do? I have a decision to make. Either I am going to find another coach or company or program or vendor, or I'm going to say, okay, this one time, because this is exclusive and this is the only way I'm going to get this, then I need to go ahead and pay for it. But I actually haven't found those things, so you may find that. And I'm just giving you an example of how I put it into practice. So I'm able to teach that to others, and it has proven to be successful. And for me, it is a part of my personal success formula. And that is not to say, these are the only things you need to be successful, but these are those things that are going to keep you from going back to quadrant 1 and experiencing regrets, having your expectations not met, and having disappointment occur again in your life or in your business. So that's what's really key. Now, we know there's always going to be opportunities for disappointment. We know they're going to come, but the key is to be able to process through it, not to get stuck, not to, have it hold you back, but to be able to move forward. So that is quadrant 3, the lessons we practice and lessons we teach. And then in quadrant 4 is really about rebirth. It is really about, after all that you've been through, after everything that you had to deal with, after you learned your lessons, you put some things into practice, what are you now going to carry forward? You've got your personal success formula. You're in a space where you can continue to build your business. You're not of the mindset anymore, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna stop, what was I thinking, I was crazy. People in my family don't become entrepreneurs, they become nurses, they become teachers, they become engineers, right? So now you're in a space where you process through those disappointments, those regrets, and you're in a space where you've learned some things, you've taught some things, you practiced some things, and you can carry it forward. So what are you going to carry forward? Who are you going to be now on the other side of all of that? When it comes to moving forward and business, a lot of times we focus on the outside and, that didn't work, so I need another brand. That didn't work, so I need another Facebook strategy. This didn't work, maybe I need to, do more snaps on Snapchat, whatever that might be. But the reality of it is, when you don't process through those disappointments, then you start to look for things outside. But I'm here to tell you, success is an inside job, and it's going to come from the inside out. So when the inside is the right environment, when you've cleared out all of the gunk and the junk, you really can begin to create the business that you want. You will find that you have more creative ideas, and you will find that you find different ways to serve your clients. You want to be more helpful. When you're not in a space where you're guarded and trying to protect yourself from this happening or that happening again, you really can serve your clients better. And that is what we really want to do. Serve, right? You want to meet their needs. And literally, when you meet their needs, that really is the only time, when you can meet a need and provide transformation for them, that's the only time that you really deserve to be paid for your product or your service. So when you think about it, if you're carrying all those regrets and disappointments, and it's keeping you from being your best and providing your best, in my opinion, you don't deserve to be paid, or you're slighting them. You certainly don't deserve to command top dollar. So we want to be in a place where we can do that, because our time is valuable, our gifts are amazing, our talents are treasures, and we really want to be able to serve our audiences. So this whole thing, like I said, is about going from regret to rebirth, moving from business regret to rebirth. And I have to tell you, being on the other side of regret is just phenomenal. It's just amazing. The ideas and the things that come to me, and the creative ways I can serve my audience and serve my clients is really phenomenal. And the feedback that I get from people, just about the relationships and the service I provide and how I manage and handle, people really feel like their needs, their desires, their business is as important to me as it is to them. And that's absolutely the case. In some cases, it is, well, I can't say more important, but it's definitely as equally important, because that's what I'm here for. I'm called to serve. And so it has to be important to me, and I have to be in a space where I can serve freely, fully, and then, tell them what I see for them and show them how I can help to serve them and meet those needs and get to, what we see together. So that is the importance here. And so, like I said, I'm gonna back it up a little bit and just say again, quadrant 1 is absolutely vital. So take the time right now and, continue to put down all of those regrets. In fact, make a promise to yourself that you will not move to quadrant 2, 3, or 4 for, until Monday or a week, because you're going to allow yourself the time to make sure you get it all up, you get it all out. And who cares if you wind up writing the same thing twice or saying something different? that way, you're gonna really know that that was huge. It had a major negative impact on your life and on your business. So take the time to really, really go deep in quadrant number 1. And I'm going to, like I said, text you guys, or give you guys the graphic to be able to go through quadrants 2, 3, and 4. So what I want you to do is text the word intimate to 408-913-6963. Again, 408-913-6963. I'll say it one last time. Text the word intimate to 408-913-6963. And what that's going to do is that's going to get you, you'll have an opportunity to schedule a one-on-one with me to be able to walk you through the process. But you're going to get a copy of the Mastering the Disappointment Within graphic. It's going to have all 4 quadrants. It's going to give you a little bit of insight into each one and what you can do to fill out, to move forward to the other quadrants. So it gives you some examples of, it asks you some questions and give you some examples, so you'll know how to fill it out. But again, take the time to focus in quadrant 1, because you really want to get it all up, you really want to get it all out, you really want to process through all of it. I feel like I would say a broken record, but maybe I'm showing my age, but a scratch CD, or I don't know, something messed up on iTunes, whatever, because I keep saying it over and over and over again, to take the time to put everything you can down in quadrant 1. It is so ultra important. I will tell you that your life, your legacy, your destiny depend on you being able to master your relationship with disappointment. It depends on you being able to free yourself of the effects of not having your expectations met. Because imagine yourself, wrapped up, tied up in a rope. Imagine yourself every time something disappointed you, professionally or personally, someone takes the rope and wraps it around you again and again and again, and ultimately your hands are going to be tied. You're not going to be able to move your feet. Maybe able to jump around, but that's not effective. So my point is, don't let anyone, anything, or any situation hold you back. So my goal was to be able to give you a tool, something that you can literally be, once we get through it with you, and please text in the word intimate to 408-913-6963 so we can walk through it. But literally, once we get you through it, and the more you process, if something happens, you can, just take yourself through it. Get to the lesson, what are you going to put into practice, and what are you going to take forward from this experience? And you can move through it, quickly and with ease, and it becomes a skill. It becomes something that you've mastered. And that is what ultimately is the goal for you to be able to master your relationship with regrets, with disappointment, so it doesn't hold you back. So again, text in intimate to 408-913-6963, and you will get the graphic, and you'll have an opportunity to set up some time to go through the whole all 4 quadrants with me personally. It's my gift from Womenpreneur 18, so I'm excited to do that. And for everyone yes, you in the room too, you can as well. So please do that and take seriously, like I said, promise, commit to yourself, you won't move from quadrant 1 until you really feel like you've gotten it all out. And only you will know that. Some may move quicker than others, but who cares if you take a week or 2? The important thing is to get it out, to put it all down, so we can then begin to work with it, pull out the lessons that you learned, and help put some things into practice and get you in a space, where you can help teach those things, so that someone else who may be going through what you had to go through can go through and grow through with someone who's gone through. That's the ultimate thing. It's put you in a place where you can move forward, but you can reach back and you can take others and pull them along as well. So text intimate to 408-913-6963. And that's going to do it for us here for this presentation in the Big Ideas Room, where we talked about moving from business regret to business rebirth. So thank you, all online, and those of you who have joined us in the room as well, thank you so much. We're going to wrap this session up for the next presenter.